A massive alien ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a dark moon, its hull stretching 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Admiral Jack Stone stood on the bridge of the orbital defense station, watching the vessels approach with grim determination. The ship belonged to the Dominion, a galactic empire that had crushed hundreds of civilizations across the galaxy. Captain Lisa Ward, Earth's chief xenobiologist, stood beside him, her tablet displaying the first translation attempts. "There, broadcasting on all frequencies," she reported, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "Universal Translator is working overtime, but the message is clear enough." The alien transmission crackled through the station's speakers. The voice was deep, resonating with mechanical precision. "Primitive species of the third planet. I am Commander Thale of the Dominion Fleet. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. You will surrender all military assets, submit your population for processing, and prepare for colonization by superior beings." Stone's jaw tightened. Earth had been preparing for this moment ever since they detected the Dominion's expansion across nearby star systems. The reports from refugee ships had been horrific: entire planets stripped of resources, populations enslaved or eliminated, cultures erased from existence. "They're giving us 72 hours, Ward continued, reading from her tablet. "Standard Dominion protocol. Submit or be destroyed." The transmission continued with chilling efficiency. "Do not mistake our generosity for weakness. The Dominion has conquered over 3,000 star systems. Your primitive technology cannot match our might. We have weapons capable of cracking planets and fleets that blot out suns. Resistance is futile." Stone turned to his communications officer, Lieutenant Tom Blake. "Send a response. Tell them we need time to consider their offer. Buy us whatever time you can." Blake nodded and began transmitting. The reply was simple. Message received. "Earth's Governing Council requires time to discuss terms. We request a formal meeting to discuss surrender conditions." The response came back within minutes, dripping with condescension. "Amusing. The inferior species wishes to negotiate. Very well. You have 72 hours to present your unconditional surrender. Any attempt at deception or military preparation will result in immediate planetary bombardment." As the transmission ended, Stone felt the weight of humanity's fate on his shoulders. But he also felt something else: a cold, burning determination that had carried humans through every challenge they'd ever faced. "Sir," Ward said quietly, "the President is calling an emergency session. They want you planetside immediately." Stone nodded, his mind already racing. The Dominion had made one critical mistake in their assessment of humanity. They'd assumed that Earth's response would be driven by fear, by the desperate calculations of a cornered species. They hadn't considered that humans had spent millennia perfecting the art of being dangerous when threatened. "Lisa," he said, turning to Ward, "what do we know about their ship's capabilities?" Ward consulted her tablet. "Long-range sensors show massive energy signatures. Definitely weapon systems we've never encountered. But, sir, there's something else. The ship's power core is reading as unstable. It's like they're running everything at maximum capacity." Stone's eyes narrowed, overconfident. "They're trying to intimidate us with a show of force." "There's more," Ward continued. "Intelligence. Reports from the outer colonies suggest the Dominion always leads with their most powerful vessel. It's psychological warfare. Break the enemy's spirit before the real invasion begins." The implications hit Stone immediately. This wasn't just a threat, it was a test. The Dominion wanted to see how humanity would respond to overwhelming force. They expected surrender, or at best, a desperate and futile resistance. "Sir," Blake interrupted, "we're receiving priority communications from all Earth defense sectors. They're asking for orders." Stone looked out at the stars, where the Dominion vessel hung like a harbinger of doom. Somewhere out there, other species had faced the same moment. Most had surrendered, others had fought and died, but none had done what Stone was about to propose. "Get me a secure line to the President," he said, "and patch me through to Project Prometheus." Ward's eyes widened. "Sir, Prometheus is still theoretical. We've never tested it at full capacity." Stone smiled grimly. "Then I guess we're about to find out if human engineering is as good as human stubbornness." The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity joined the ranks of the Dominion slaves, or whether they would teach the galaxy what it truly meant to threaten Earth. As the alien ship waited in orbit, broadcasting its demands to the planet below, none of its crew could have imagined that they had just made the last mistake of their very long lives. Asterisk, deep beneath the Colorado mountains, Project Prometheus hummed with activity. Dr. Mike Chun led the team of engineers and physicists through the facility's main corridor, their footsteps echoing in the vast underground complex. The project had been humanity's most closely guarded secret for over a decade. "Status report," Stone demanded as he arrived at the control center. The past 12 hours had been a blur of emergency meetings, military briefings, and desperate preparations. Dr. Chun looked up from his console, exhaustion evident in his eyes. "We've managed to bring the primary systems online, but Admiral, this technology was never meant for combat deployment. The quantum resonance chamber alone requires precise calibration that could take weeks." Stone's expression remained stern. "You have 58 hours. Make it work." The Prometheus project had begun as a theoretical experiment in quantum mechanics and stellar engineering. The basic principle was simple in concept, terrifying in execution, using quantum entanglement to create a resonance cascade that could destabilize matter at the molecular level. Applied to a planet, it could literally tear the world apart. "Sir," interrupted Dr. Anna Ross, the project's lead quantum physicist, "we've been monitoring the Dominion ship's energy patterns. Their vessel is generating massive gravitational distortions. If we can lock onto their quantum signature, we might be able to use their own power against them." Stone nodded grimly. The plan was audacious beyond measure. Instead of targeting the Dominion ship directly, they would demonstrate humanity's resolve by splitting an uninhabited planet in the same star system. The message would be clear. Surrender was not an option. Meanwhile, on the surface, Captain Ward coordinated with Earth's remaining defensive fleets. The deception had to be perfect. To the Dominion, it would appear that humanity was desperately preparing for a conventional battle they couldn't win. All ships maintained defensive positions. Ward commanded from the bridge of the flagship Defiance. "Make it look like we're preparing for a last stand." The Dominion ship had positioned itself in high orbit, its massive form casting shadows across entire continents. Regular broadcasts continued to demand surrender, each message more threatening than the last. "Pathetic creatures," Commander Thale observed from his command throne. "They scatter their primitive vessels like insects before a storm." Do they truly believe their metal toys can challenge the might of the Dominion? His aide, Sub-Commander Vex, analyzed the tactical displays. "Their largest vessels barely register on our threat assessments. This will be over within hours once we begin bombardment." Thale's reptilian features twisted in what might have been amusement. "Signal the fleet. Prepare for immediate pacification protocols." I grow tired of this charade. But 48 hours remained, and deep underground, Project Prometheus was achieving the impossible. Teams worked around the clock, pushing technology beyond its theoretical limits. The quantum resonance chamber had been designed to probe the fundamental structure of matter. Now, it was being weaponized on a scale never before attempted. "Power levels at 60%, reported Dr. Chun. "The quantum field generators are holding steady, but Admiral, if we push much further, we risk catastrophic failure." Stone studied. The readouts, his mind calculating odds and consequences. What's our target window? The asteroid belt, Dr. Ross answered. There's a dwarf planet, designation Kappa 7, about 3 million kilometers from the Dominion ship. It's uninhabited, mostly iron and rock. If we can successfully demonstrate the weapons capability there, they'll understand that we're not bluffing, Stone finished. How long to achieve target lock? 18 hours for full calibration, Chun replied. But sir, we're talking about splitting a planet in half. The energy requirements alone will be met, Stone interrupted. I don't care if you have to drain every power grid on Earth. Make it happen. As the teams worked feverishly, word spread through Earth's population. The official story was that humanity was preparing for a desperate defensive battle. The truth was far more audacious. Earth wasn't preparing to defend itself. It was preparing to send a message that would echo across the galaxy. Sir, Ward's voice crackled through the comm system. We're detecting increased activity from the Dominion ship. They're charging weapon systems. Stone's jaw tightened. They're losing patience. How much longer, Dr. Chun? 16 hours minimum. The quantum cascade equations are incredibly complex. One miscalculation, and we could tear a hole in space-time itself. Then don't miscalculate, Stone replied simply. Above them, the Dominion ship waited with predatory patience. Commander Thale had given the humans 72 hours to surrender, confident that fear would drive them to submit. He had no idea that in the depths of Earth's mountains, humanity was preparing to demonstrate why threatening their homeworld was the last mistake anyone would ever make. The countdown continued, and with each passing hour, the impossible became inevitable. Asterisk 8 hours remained until the Dominion's deadline. In the underground facility, the air thrummed with barely contained energy. The quantum resonance chamber had reached full power, its massive coils glowing with an eerie blue light that seemed to bend space around it. All systems green, Dr. Chun announced, his voice hoarse from sleepless nights. Quantum field generators are stable. Target lock acquired on Kappa 7. Admiral Stone stood before the main display, watching the tactical readout of the dwarf planet floating in space. It was roughly the size of Earth's moon, a barren world of rock and metal that had never known life. In a few hours, it would become humanity's declaration of war. Communications. Patch me through to the President, Stone ordered. The secure line crackled to life. Admiral, this is President Williams. Are we ready? Yes, sir. But once we do this, there's no going back. The Dominion will know we're not the primitive species they expected. A long pause. Admiral, I've been reading the intelligence reports from the outer colonies. The Dominion has enslaved or destroyed over 3,000 civilizations. They won't stop with Earth if we don't make our stand here. Who will? Stone nodded grimly. Understood, sir. Initiating final countdown. Above them, Captain Ward maintained the deception from the bridge of the Defiance. Earth's defensive fleet was positioned in what appeared to be a desperate last-stand formation. To the Dominion, it looked like humanity was preparing for a conventional battle they couldn't win. Dominion ship is hailing us again, Lieutenant Blake reported. Put them through, Ward commanded. Commander Thale's voice filled the bridge, dripping with condescension. Pitiful humans, your time grows short. In 8 hours, we will demonstrate why the Dominion is supreme. Your pathetic vessels will be swept aside like dust before the storm. Ward keyed the response. Commander Thale, humanity has reached a decision. We request a formal meeting to discuss terms. Terms? Thale's laughter was like grinding metal. You are in no position to negotiate terms. You will surrender unconditionally, or you will be destroyed. These are your only options. The transmission ended, and Ward allowed herself a small smile. All ships, Maintain positions. Let them think we're desperate. In the depths of the facility, Dr. Ross monitored the quantum field readings. Energy cascade is building. The resonance frequency is matching our calculations perfectly. Time to target engagement? Stone asked. 7 hours, 32 minutes, Sean replied. Admiral, I need to ask one more time. Are you absolutely certain about this? Once we trigger the cascade, there's no stopping it. Stone looked at the display, showing Earth's blue marble, suspended in the void, the massive Dominion ship hanging above it like a dark omen. Doctor, that ship up there represents everything humanity has ever fought against. Tyranny, oppression, the strong preying on the weak. If we back down now, we're not just surrendering our planet, we're surrendering our souls. The final hours ticked by with mechanical precision. Teams ran last-minute diagnostics, checked and rechecked calculations, and prepared for an event that would change the course of galactic history. 4 hours remaining, Dr. Chun announced. On the Dominion ship, Commander Thale grew increasingly impatient. These humans test my patience. Signal the fleet. Begin preliminary bombardment of their major cities. Perhaps a demonstration of power will encourage swifter surrender. Sir, Sub-Commander Vex interjected, our orders were to allow the full 72 hours. The Dominion Council prefers complete psychological domination before physical conquest. Thale's claws scraped against his command throne. Very well, but the moment their deadline expires, we reduce their world to ash. 2 hours remaining. Came the announcement from the underground facility. Stone felt the weight of the moment. In 2 hours, humanity would either announce itself as a force to be reckoned with, or it would reveal a weapon that would make every species in the galaxy tremble. Either way, the age of human innocence was about to end. Admiral, Dr. Ross called out, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations from the Dominion ship. They're building up for planetary bombardment. Stone's eyes narrowed. They're planning to start early. How much time do we need? 30 minutes for full target lock, Chun replied. But sir, if they begin bombardment, they won't, Stone interrupted. Not until their deadline. Their pride won't allow it. The countdown continued, each second bringing humanity closer to a moment that would echo through the ages. In the depths of space, the dwarf planet Kappa 7 spun silently in its orbit, unaware that it was about to become the stage for humanity's most defiant act. Final countdown initiated, Dr. Chun announced. 10 minutes to quantum cascade deployment. The moment of truth had arrived. Asterisk, 5 minutes to quantum cascade deployment, Dr. Chun announced, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. Admiral Stone stood at the center of the control room, surrounded by displays, showing energy readings that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. The quantum resonance chamber hummed with power that could reshape matter at the molecular level. All stations, final systems check, Stone commanded. Quantum field generators stable, reported Dr. Ross. Target lock confirmed on Kappa 7, added the targeting officer. Energy cascade building to critical threshold, Sean continued. Once we initiate, a resonance wave will travel at near light speed. Total cascade time, 47 seconds. Stone nodded grimly. Open a channel to the surface. Captain Ward's voice crackled through the com. Admiral, Dominion ship is maintaining position. They're still broadcasting surrender demands. Perfect. Let them watch. On the bridge of the Dominion vessel, Commander Thale paced impatiently. How much longer must we endure this charade? These humans cling to their meaningless existence, like insects. Sir, Sub-Commander Vex reported, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface. Deep underground, Sector 7. Thale's reptilian eyes narrowed. Weapon systems? Unknown, sir. The readings are unlike anything in our databases. Primitive species attempting primitive solutions. Thale dismissed. Continue monitoring. Nothing. These creatures possess can threaten the Dominion. In the underground facility, the final countdown began. 60 seconds to initiation. Dr. Chon announced. Stone felt the weight of history pressing down on him. In 1 minute, humanity would either announce itself as a galactic power or reveal a weapon that would make every species in the galaxy reconsider their assumptions about Earth. 30 seconds. The quantum field generators reached maximum output. The air itself seemed to vibrate with barely contained energy. 15 seconds. Stone closed his eyes briefly, thinking of every human civilization that had ever stood against impossible odds. They had always found a way to survive, to adapt, to overcome. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Initiate quantum cascade. Dr. Chun's finger pressed the activation key dot deep in the facility's heart. The quantum resonance chamber erupted in blinding light. Energy that had been building for hours suddenly found its release, channeled and focused into a beam that transcended normal spacetime. The wave struck Kappa 7 in an instant that lasted forever. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The dwarf planet continued its silent rotation, a small dot of reflected light in the vast darkness of space. Then, reality began to unravel. The quantum cascade found every molecular bond in the planet's structure and began to sing, not the harmonious song of stable matter, but the discordant shriek of destruction. The resonance frequency penetrated to the planet's core, turning solid matter into something else entirely. Cascade initiated successfully, Dr. Ross reported, her voice filled with awe. Energy propagation is following predicted patterns. On the surface, Captain Ward watched through the Defiance's main view screen as sensors detected the impossible. Admiral, we're reading massive gravitational distortions from the target zone. The planet began to scream. Asterisk. It started as a thin line of light, visible only to the most sensitive instruments. A crack that ran from pole to pole, glowing with the fire of unleashed quantum energy. The crack widened, and the planet's rotation began to slow as fundamental. Forces that had held it together for billions of years simply stopped. By the void, Sub-Commander Vex whispered from the Dominion Ridge. What are they doing? Commander Thale stood frozen, his predatory confidence evaporating as he watched sensors that couldn't possibly be correct. That's not possible. No species has that level of technology. The crack became a chasm. The chasm became a canyon of light. And still, the planet split dot had happened with terrible beauty. The two halves of what had once been a world separated with geological slowness, trailing streams of molten rock and metal. The quantum cascade continued its work, ensuring that the break was clean, permanent, and absolutely irreversible. Cascade complete, Dr. Chon announced. Planet Kappa 7 has been successfully divided. The silence that followed was deafening. On screens throughout the solar system, humanity watched as their impossible weapon turned theory into reality. The dwarf planet now existed as two separate worlds, each spinning slowly away from the other, the cut surface glowing with residual quantum energy. This is Admiral Stone to all Earth forces. Stone's voice carried across every communication channel. Message to the Dominion. This is what happens to planets that threaten Earth. We suggest you reconsider your position. Quantum Cascade had spoken. Now the galaxy would have to listen. Asterisk. The silence that followed the planet's splitting lasted exactly 17 seconds. Then, chaos erupted across every communication channel in the solar system. This is impossible, Commander Thale's voice cracked. Through the void, his previous arrogance replaced by something humanity had never heard from the Dominion before: fear. No primitive species possesses such technology. Our intelligence was flawed. Admiral Stone stood in the control center, watching the tactical displays as two halves of what had once been a planet slowly drifted apart. The quantum energy signatures were still visible, like glowing scars across the fabric of space-time itself. "Open a channel to the Dominion vessel," Stone commanded. The connection established, Stone's voice carried the weight of a species that had just announced its place in the galaxy. "Commander Thale, this is Admiral Stone of Earth Defense Command. You came to our system making demands and threats. You told us that resistance was futile. We have provided our response." On the bridge of the Dominion ship, Thale's reptilian features had gone pale. Sub-Commander Vex was frantically consulting their databases, trying to find any reference to quantum cascade technology in their records of conquered civilizations. "Sir," Vex reported quietly, "there's nothing. No species in our database has ever demonstrated this level of stellar engineering capability." Stone's transmission continued. "You have seen what we can do to a lifeless planet. Imagine what we can do to your ship. You have 1 hour to leave our system. If you are not gone by then, we will demonstrate that our patience has limits." The transmission ended, leaving the Dominion ship in stunned silence. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced a species that had answered their ultimatum with something beyond their understanding. "Sir," Vex said carefully, "our weapons are powerful, but that display, they split a planet in half. A planet." Thale's claws scraped against his command throne. The Dominion had built their empire on the principle of overwhelming force. They had never encountered a species that could match their technological superiority. Now, faced with weapons that defied their understanding, the carefully constructed hierarchy of galactic power was crumbling. "Signal the fleet," Thale said finally. "Full retreat. We need to report this to the Council immediately." "Sir?" Vex couldn't hide his surprise. "We're surrendering?" "We're being strategic," Thale corrected, but his voice lacked conviction. "The humans have revealed capabilities that require reassessment." In the depths of the Earth facility, Dr. Chun was powering down the quantum resonance chamber. The massive machine had performed flawlessly, but the energy requirements had pushed every system to its limits. "Status report," Stone requested. "All systems nominal," Chun replied. "But Admiral, we can't do this again. Not for several months. The power requirements alone nearly overloaded our entire grid." Stone nodded. "One shot was all we needed. The message has been sent." Above them, Captain Ward watched through the Defiance's viewscreen as the massive Dominion ship began to move. Its engines flared to life, and the 15-kilometer vessel slowly turned away from Earth. "Admiral," Ward's voice carried a note of amazement, "they're leaving. The Dominion is actually retreating." The news spread across Earth within minutes. Humanity had faced down the galaxy's most powerful empire and emerged victorious. But Stone knew that this was just the beginning. The Dominion would return, and when they did, they would bring everything they had. "Dr. Chun," Stone said, "how? Long to build another quantum resonance chamber? With unlimited resources? 6 months. Maybe less if we can reverse engineer some of the alien technology from the refugee ships." Stone smiled grimly. "Then we'd better get started. Because when word of this spreads across the galaxy, everyone is going to want to know what else humanity is capable of." The Dominion ship reached the edge of the solar system and engaged its faster-than-light drive. In the space of a heartbeat, it was gone, leaving behind only the slowly cooling wreckage of what had once been a planet dot. As news of the confrontation spread, something unprecedented began to happen. Species across the galaxy it had lived in, terror of the Dominion, started to whisper a new name. Earth, the planet that had split a world in half rather than surrender. The galactic balance of power had shifted in a single moment. The Dominion, for the first time in their history, had retreated without conquest. And in the depths of space, other civilizations began to wonder, if humanity could stand against the Dominion, what else might be possible? The age of human dominance had begun, announced not with words or diplomacy, but with a demonstration that would echo through the stars for generations to come. Earth had spoken, and the galaxy would never be the same. The threat had been made. The reply had split a planet in two. And the universe now knew that humanity was not to be underestimated. Of story outline, asterisk.